I just ran across this video on TikTok, and it just really encapsulates everything that I've been talking about for several years in the car shipping industry, and all the issues that we talk about. The bait and switch, the COD issues that all come up out of the COD model. This poor lady had most of these happen to her in this one transport, and so I just wanted to highlight this video. I want to go through it step by step, so really, so you can see that it's not just me saying these things. It's a real life experience from a customer who had her car shipped and just ran into all these things. And this isn't a one-off situation. These are things that we hear every single day, from customers who are calling us in a panic because they got in with one of these brokers, and now they're at their moving day. They don't have anybody to pick up their car, and they just need help. And so my mission here at Mr. Car Shipper is we want to help as many consumers avoid predatory car shipping brokers as possible, so you don't get into these situations and just add more stress to your move or your car shipment when it's when you're in the 11th hour and just don't have the time to deal with these things. So let's get going. Buckle up. It's about a 4-minute video, and I'll stop it periodically so we can just discuss what she's talking about, discuss the situation, and then give you a behind the scenes look of what's going on so you can learn how to spot these things. So let's go on ahead and get started.
All right, so I need opinions. I need you to listen to the story and then tell me if you think my car is gonna get literally stolen or I'm gonna get scammed. So moving from Massachusetts to Florida, I decided to ship my car using an auto transport company. I've heard of other people doing this, so I head on to Google and I look up auto transport companies. I signed up for a bunch of quotes to see, which one would give me the lowest quote. Because I have a Toyota 4Runner, so it's a very large car. So I'm like, whatever, I'll just check a bunch of companies out, look at the reviews, and go with the one with the lowest rate.
Okay, so I want to stop right there real quick. And the first mistake that she made is one that she didn't even realize she was making. She's doing what millions of other people do. It's the first thing that anybody who's shipped a car before or who's never shipped a car, this is what they do. They jump on Google, type in auto transport, car shipping, any number of keywords, and then they just start going through and looking to see who can give them the best quote. Now, what you may not realize is a lot of these websites that offer multiple quotes, those are nothing but lead generation websites. And so they're just collecting your information, and then they're selling it back out to the brokers of the industry who need leads to call. And it tends to be these brokers that are buying these leads tend to be the companies that are just high volume and low quality service. And so what's going to happen is you're going to get inundated with phone calls, with emails, with text messages from the pushiest, most self-serving people lying to you, just trying to get you to sign up with them right away. And they're going to use all kinds of tactics to get you to sign that contract right away. And we're going to get into a lot of those. So let's go on ahead and continue with the video.
So I decided to go with the Seeds Transport because they quoted me $750. And then their reviews look good, almost 2,000 reviews. I looked them up on Facebook, looked them up on Instagram. Everything seems to be checking out. I signed a...
Okay, so the reviews, she did what most people will do when they've never used a particular type of service. She's looking at the reviews. Now, unfortunately, in our industry, that especially, you can't really trust the reviews because so many of these brokers, as they have gotten these bad reviews, they have figured out ways to get rid of those reviews so they can make their total score look a lot better than it truly is. And so there's a couple different tactics that they use. Number one is there's companies out there that exist solely for the purpose of removing reviews, and they've got all their different tactics. I won't get into all those, but that's their whole business model, is to help companies like this who get bad reviews get those reviews off their rating system. And so they can do that. The other tactic that we see a lot is if I'm a customer, I've left a negative review because I had a bad experience, they'll call me up and say, hey, we'll give you $100, $50, we'll give you a gift card. They'll offer me something as a bribe to get me to remove that review so it can boost their score back up. And so, again, you can't, unfortunately, I wish you could trust the review system, but there's just companies out there everywhere that we know are not good companies because we hear their name come up all the time with these different schemes, yet they still have a 4.5 star review with hundreds, if not thousands of ratings. And so just my personal opinion, I wouldn't trust the reviews. Now, the other thing I just want you to mention, want you to remember that she mentioned the quote that she got was $750, because that's going to be very important here coming up in the next few seconds.
The contract, I paid the $200 like holding deposit or whatever, and then they were like, okay, then you have to pay, you know, $550 at delivery. So when they deliver your car to you in Florida, you'll pay, you know, $550 more. Then they call me.
Okay, so what she just described is the COD system. And again, if you watch any of our videos, I talk a lot about the COD system and why it's so bad for the consumer. The problem is over 99% of the industry uses this COD system because it's way more convenient and way cheaper for the broker and the carrier, and it just provides a breeding ground for all of these issues that we're talking about. A lot of the issues that are in the industry have a much harder time existing outside of the COD model, and so, you know, it's really a shame that more brokers are not getting away from the COD model, because it's really bad for the consumer. But the problem is it's going to be really hard for you to find a broker who does not use this COD model. And so my recommendation, again, what we recommend to all of our customers is, if you're out there shopping around, you're getting quotes, ask the broker, am I going to pay the driver COD on the delivery? And if they say yes, then absolutely do not under any circumstance go with that type of company, because you're just opening yourself up to so many of these issues that we see, and you're not going to know it until it's too late. So don't even open up that door by going with a company that's going to set you up for failure.
This morning, so this is 24 hours before they're supposed to come pick my car up, and they're like, the original driver changed his route, and like there's a few other drivers who can pick your car up and transport it tomorrow. However, it's going to be, they want like more money. It's going to be an increased fee. And I'm like, okay, how much? So at first she's like, okay, like this driver wants $800. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then she calls back like 10 minutes later and is like, oh, just kidding, that driver like changed his route too. This new driver wants $900. And I'm like, all right. She calls me a third time, like 15 minutes after that, and is like, okay, like, sorry, that driver fell through too. This is like, this one is legit. They want $1,100, so you already paid $200. So basically, like, at drop off, at delivery, you would have to pay $900 cash to the driver.
Okay, so this is the oldest trick in the book. This is the golden standard for these types of brokers to use this type of model. So remember, I told you earlier, you know, when you're getting these quotes on these multiple quote websites, you know, there's 8, 9, 10 different brokers that these leads are going to, and they all know that. And so they're in a frenzy to lowball the price to get you under contract, you know, to bait you in to sign their contract, because they know no matter what they quote you on the front end, they can manipulate you up to a higher price. And this is, bar none, the most common tactic used by a lot of these brokers. And so one of the common tactics that they're going to use to get you to sign their contract is, you know, they're going to call you up and say, hey, and this is at the time of quoting, they're going to call you up and say, hey, you know, it's going to be, you know, $500, or in this case, $700, and we've got someone that can pick up, you know, within 24 hours of your pickup date. And so for you, you're going to say, hey, you know, that seems like a for sure thing. I can just get this off my plate. I don't have to worry about it. The truth is, they don't have anybody to pick up your car. They're just lying to you. And then what they're going to do is they're going to post it out on the low board and hope that they get a carrier in. What happens is they get up to your actual move date within, here in this case, 24 hours, and they don't have anybody. And so they call you up and lie to you again, saying, hey, this driver fell through, or they'll use mechanical issues. The truck broke down, or, you know, driver got sick, or, you know, just any number of excuses. There's some of them are getting creative, but rest assured that if they're canceling and telling you that the driver fell through within 48 hours of your car getting picked up, then it was a scheme from the beginning. And so if you're already in that situation where, you know, you've had someone, you've booked with someone, you're almost to your moving date and they've canceled or fell through or whatever, you should just cancel the contract right then. Even if you lose your deposit, which we can help you get that back, you're not actually losing it, but don't continue to do business with them. Cancel the order immediately and come to a company that will actually quote you the right price and get you going. But, you know, again, it's going to be a lot higher price. And at this point, you're going to be paying a premium to get this done. So let's go on ahead and continue here.
I'm like, this is not ideal. Like, I thought I was going to pay $500 cash, not $900. Like, that's a very big difference, like double. But I'm like, what am I supposed to do at this point, right? Like, I'm moving. My flight is at 6 a.m. on Friday. Tomorrow's Thursday. Like, I need my part.
Okay, and unfortunately, this is the same reaction that everybody does. They don't like it. Yeah, they might be pissed off about it, but at the end of the day, they're stuck. They need it. They need the car moved, and so they go on ahead and say, yes, let's go on ahead and get it done. And the brokers know this. This is why this scheme works so well, is because they know you're in a bad spot. They've waited all the way up until you're about ready to leave, and they know that you are not going to cancel at that point when they really do have a legit carrier. And by this point, they do have a legit carrier, but again, you're paying way more. You're working with someone who has lied to you at every step of the way, and chances are you're just going to continue to have more problems throughout this process.
I need my car picked up. So I'm like, okay, fine, that's fine, whatever. Then I just get a call from like a guy, and he's like, oh, did you like have a booking to get your like car transported from Boston to Florida? And I was like, yes. And he was like, oh, it says that you canceled the order. And I was like, I don't know, like, no, I didn't cancel the order. And they're like, oh, the brokerage must have canceled the order or something. So then I text the lady from the like brokerage, whatever. So I'm like, that was a weird phone call. So I text the lady. This is like the person, I don't know, that I've been contacting with this whole time, communicating with. And I'm just like, hey, I received a call from this number claiming that the order's canceled for tomorrow. Like, not really sure what this means. And then she's like, this is the first driver who changed his direction and he's playing with me. And I'm just like, okay, like this is very like red flag, this wordage. And then she's like, do not trust him. It would be better if you block him. And then that man texts me like, a screenshot of whatever. And then he's like, be careful with them. And then she's like, he will call you like 1 to 2 hours before pickup time. Please accept the driver from whatever auto transport only and check with me before you give them your vehicle.
Okay, so, it's impossible for me to know what's going on here because, if you go back and remember, she paid that $200 deposit. That's that broker's broker fee, and so their fee is fixed. The only thing I can really imagine that's going on here is they eventually got they kept raising the carrier pay price on the load boards in order to get it moved out. That's why the price kept going up and up and up. And most likely what happened is they started getting multiple calls from different carriers that could pick up. And at this point, the broker's kind of in a scramble to get the car picked up as soon as possible and whatever. And so most likely they committed that car out to multiple different carriers. And then they were going back and canceling the ones that they didn't want to do it. And so at the end of the day, it's just very, very poor transport management, and it's very poor for them to say, well, this one's legit. Well, is that to indicate the other ones weren't legit? And if the other ones weren't legit, why were you hiring them? And so again, it's just extremely poor customer service here, and very poor planning on their part.
I've never done anything like this before with auto transporting whatever, and I don't know anyone else who has either. Well, I've like talked to people like at bars or whatever who have told me that they've done this, like gotten their car shipped, but I have no one that I can actually like ask, like, is this a sketchy process? Is this supposed to be like this sketch? Or am I about to like have some like grand theft auto and someone's gonna steal my car? And it's like,
Okay, and so that's pretty much the end of the video, and I just wanted to address, kind of her last statement there is, is her car going to get stolen? The chances are extremely, extremely rare that the car is ever in danger of getting stolen. So don't worry about that. But the rest of it is, yeah, it's a very sketchy process. But unfortunately, that's way more common than what you would expect from an industry here. And so the best thing that we can offer here is that if you have to go to Google and do a Google search, for sure, 100% do not give your information to a website that offers multiple quotes. Because again, it's just going to a lead generation company. Your information is being sold, and now it's going to be all over out, in different places. And so what we recommend is get a referral. And if you don't know anybody personally that has shipped a car before, you can go to bigger companies like, Pods, UPAC. You can call up your local car dealer. You can, just call a a larger business that does car shipping and ask who they use, because the companies that work for these bigger companies, they're under a lot more scrutiny to do what they say they're going to do, and they can't risk putting their customers' reputation in jeopardy. Otherwise, they're going to lose a large amount of business. And so, if you take Mr. Car Shipper, for example, we've been the car shipping partner for Pods, U-Pack, and 1-800-PACK-RAT for multiple years now. We've shipped tens of thousands of their customers' cars. And if we didn't do what we said we were going to do, if we did this kind of stuff, we would lose those contracts so fast, because I promise you, Pods, U-Pack, PACK-RAT, all these, they value their reputation in the moving industry, and they will not continue to have a vendor that puts their reputation at risk. And so, we are under constant evaluation from our partners to make sure that they survey our customers, and they make sure that we are representing their brand in the way that they expect it to be done. And so, the best thing you can do for finding a car shipping partner is to get a referral, get multiple referrals, and then see, call each of them up and see what they do. Again, ask the question about the COD. Do not ever go with a company that's going to have you pay the driver COD, because, again, if there's damage, if there's customer service issues, anything on a COD contract, no matter what has happened, once they hand you the keys to your car, you have to pay them the cash and then hope that you can take care of any of those issues afterwards, which I can guarantee you, once the driver's been paid, you are very little likely to get any issues resolved. And so, we do things differently. We don't, our drivers don't get paid until, usually 5 to 7 days after they've delivered their car, and after we can verify that your car was received, there was no damage, there's no issues. We verify that, we send the driver a check. And so if there are issues, we do have recourse methods that we can hold them accountable. And so if you have any more questions about this, go to mrcarshipper.com. We've got some more videos. If you request a quote from us, we've got a 10 to 15 minute webinar that you get access to. Whether you ship with us or not, you can watch this webinar, become an educated consumer on this process, and learn how you can avoid so many of these issues. And so, go to mrcarshipper.com, request a quote, and we will show you how we do things differently than the rest of the industry, and we'll show you behind the scenes so you can become an educated consumer and avoid predatory brokers. So appreciate you watching this video, and we will see you soon.